Okay, so I've tried to record this intro like 5 times. No one cares. But, I mean, you don't know who I am. I'm just a random person. But I've always wanted to make a YouTube video. Don't mind me just getting the white screen up so I can have some light. I've always wanted to make a YouTube video because, I mean, I'm a person that watches YouTube quite a lot. I always sit in my room and watch YouTube. But I feel like it's not a direct reflection of where people are at right now. Like, there are so many influencers out there that, you know, they look perfect. They are basically perfect and they're living great lives, and, you know, props to them. But I don't think the people that we're sitting home and watching are a direct reflection of what's really, really happening in society right now and how people are feeling. And that's not coming from the influencers. Like, they're people too, and I'm sure they have their own struggles. But what I mean is, there aren't many places online where you can find vulnerable, raw content where people are just chatting shit and talking their stories, because nobody wants to post that. Like, nobody wants to be the person that goes online and is candid and honest and vulnerable, because why would they want to do that? So what we're really getting is loads of perfect people, but internally everyone's going through so much shit. So yeah, really wanted to post a YouTube video and just talk about stuff I've been through, not from like a negative perspective where I'm complaining about my life, but more from like a perspective of, you know, put my story out there. Maybe it will help someone, maybe it won't, maybe no one will see it. Hopefully no one from my actual life will see it, because that would be so embarrassing. But it is what it is. I'll just get started. I'm coming so close. It's intrusive. Right. So I think like I've got quite a unique life and probably have had like quite a unique story, and I've been through so much shit, and there's so many different topics of things that like people are going through right now that I've been through, not in like a cocky way. I mean, I wish I didn't, but I did, so I'm not gonna let it be for nothing. I'll just make a video on it, and then hopefully someone seeing it, you know, at least feel like they're not going through something alone. And when I say I've been through a lot, like I could make 20 different videos all on 20 different topics and probably go quite in depth into each topic. And I think, yeah, if I get views on this video, I might just do that, because why the fuck not? When I'm stressed or I have a shit situation and like it's something that, obviously I'll go to my friends for advice, go to my family for advice, but if it's something that not anybody in my life can relate to, I'll always go onto YouTube, and like very rare that I'll find a video of someone like, you know, just being frank about their situation. I think that's a shame, because there are probably so many people out there going through that situation, but I mean, what kind of psycho would talk about it on a video and then post it on YouTube? You know, apart from me and like a few other people, not many people would do that. So yeah, anywho, I want to get too in depth, just talk about like brief overlying who I am, what I would want to talk about on this channel, and yeah, like a brief outline of like my life and stuff that's happened to date. Don't want it to be like therapy, like I'm just fucking ranting, but yeah. Anyway, so let's get started. So I was born into a single parent family, as many people were. I remember like I used to live in like this little council flat with my mum, a few doors from where I live now, and yeah, it was fine. Like I was too young to really remember it, like, you know, I was a kid, but I remember like some of our neighbours were quite aggressive and they'd be screaming and shouting, and my mum was quite paranoid and she like wouldn't let me go outside, and it was just got very adjusted to that way of life. And then one day my mum, you know, met, and like in the space of a week, like met a millionaire. He was like a property millionaire, but he made his money in medicine. So he just came into our lives and he was like, gonna buy you a house, gonna put you in private school like me, and yeah, gonna buy a car and sort you guys out. So literally a few months later, we moved into like a fairly nice house. It wasn't like a mansion, but it was like, compared to what we were living in before, like, you know, a good house. Yeah, put me in like this all girls, quite prestigious private school. And like, yeah, overnight my life fucking changed. Not complaining, it was fine. He was like now a lovely man, but at the time like had like a massive drinking problem. I remember he used to like call alcohol his medicine. So he'd come home from work and he'd be like, oh, Amelia, what am I going to be drinking today? Like, where's my medicine? He'd go and like just get loads of bottles of brandy and just drink it. And then like obviously when he drank, he got quite aggressive, and it was like every night him and my mum would just scream and scream and scream. Like, I don't know what physically went down between them, but I could just hear screaming like all night. Not a sob story, like, you know, I was lucky to be in that house, I was lucky to be in that position, and other than that, like, I lived quite a nice life. So yeah, I got very adjusted to that way of life. I think until I was like 11, I lived in that house and he was there. And then one day, he took me to the cinema. I think we watched, he took me to the cinema, we watched, I don't know, I think the film was White Chicks, it was something like that, like a really, like, you know, random fucking film. We watched that. And he dropped me home. It was all normal. Like, I was like, oh, this is really nice. Bit random, but nice. And then he, yeah, drove off, never came back. Awkward. Yeah, I remember, like, I was like, Mum, when's he coming back? When's he coming back? Like, every single night. And she'd be like, oh, he's on holiday. Like, he's just gone away for a few days. And then, like, after 2 weeks, she was like, yeah, he's not coming back. And by the way, we're moving out. I was so young at the time. I was kind of excited to move out. Like, I dumbly was like, can't wait, you know, like, are we gonna get a nicer house, this, that, the other. Anyway, moved into a council flat. We lived there for like 3 years, and yeah, my mum had a massive change. Yeah, whatever way you want to see it, really, like, depending on where you're from, what your culture is, what your personal beliefs are, you could call it a spiritual awakening, you could call it, like, I'm sure there's many different words to call it, and like, me personally, like, I'd say it was probably a spiritual awakening, but in the early stages it was like definitely fucking psychosis. No ifs, buts, or maybes about it, like, definitely psychosis. Like, she used to like carry fake money around in her purse and then believe that one day it would turn into real money and that she'd be a millionaire because she's manifesting the money. Like, that's just one example. Like, there were so many things that she would do. Like, she'd make these massive mood, like, fucking manifestation mood boards and just stick them all around the flat. And they were just so specific, and they'd have like pictures of me like cut out on them. It was weird, like, it freaked me out. Yeah, she also bought loads of like peace stickers, like these massive rainbow peace stickers, and she stuck them all over her Ford Focus, and she called it the Peace Mobile. Like, not even joking, like, called it the Peace Mobile. And every single day she drove me to school in that car and then picked me up in that car. And like, she'd make like songs about peace and love, and like and put them all over iTunes and like send them to all my friends' mums. Like, literally send them links. And I'm not bashing it, but I went to like a very conservative Christian all-girls private school. You know, like, literally, like, the people I went to school with would have these like fucking picture perfect lives. Like, they were lovely people, but they just were like all round, like, you'd look at them objectively, I'm sure they had their own issues, but you'd say they're perfect. Like, mum, dad, no divorce. Like, divorce was like a swear word in that school. Like, it just didn't happen. Like, 3 siblings, a golden retriever, like a house in the middle of nowhere, like acres and acres with like swimming pools and stuff. And it was just like the norm, like a completely different reality to like the life that I was living, like in my council flat with my mum, who was like going through psychosis. And like, because I didn't know anything different really, like, I just thought like the people I went to school with were normal. Like, I genuinely believed that if you didn't have a swimming pool, you were a loser. And like, obviously I didn't. I was in a council flat and my mum was fucking batshit crazy. So there was a massive contrast between like me and like everybody around me. And like, my mum was just going deeper and deeper into psychosis. Like, she'd be asking people for money and then just spending it all. I think when she broke up with my stepdad, he gave her like a lot of money, is all I'm gonna say. Like, a lot of money, and for like me and like her to like be stable. And instead of, you know, like buying a house or like doing something normal, she like was just like, oh, I want to put me a year in private school, and then just pissed away the rest on like music and retreats and all of the rest of that kind of thing. And like, not bashing people that do that, because I myself am very spiritual and I've been on retreats, but just the way it happened was crazy. Anyway, yeah, so yeah, loads of stuff happened. Then moved into like a nice house like in the area that she used to grow up, and yeah, lived a relatively like nice life there, but she was getting like more and more into her stuff. And then like she met someone, he moved in like 2 days later, like she literally met him, and then like a week later, 2 days, 3 days later, he was like living with me. So I just had to like adjust this random man in my space. He was nice enough, but he was a bit weird, and he smelled like beans all the time, and like he was bald by choice, and he wore like his sunglasses on the back of his head. But all in all, like a nice person, you know, like I'm not criticising him, but I am, because what the fuck. And then yeah, so he lived with us for a while. Well, and we like kept moving houses, and like at this period my mum was like very emotionally turbulent. Like she'd have daily breakdowns, and every time I like tried to leave the house, she'd call the police on me. So I'd be like going out with my friends at a shopping centre, and like there'd be sirens in the background, and I genuinely think they were for me, and at times they literally were. Like I remember like one time I went to my friend's house, and we were just like innocent little kids. Like we were making brownies, and what were we doing? We were making brownies and watching like Mean Girls or something, and my mum was like blowing up my phone. Like she used to send me like 100 text messages in a row and just like call me relentlessly. Like I'd have like 300 missed calls from this woman, and then she'd also like call my family members, like my elderly family members, and tell them that I'm like leaving her and running away, and I'm like out of control. She like put me on missing people lists. Like I would be on like government missing persons lists when I'm like in a shopping centre. Like I'm in fucking Bershka, and the police are like scouring the country for me. Anyway, so yeah, she was like blowing up my phone when I was at my friend's house, and she was like, where the fuck are you, and I was like, I always like didn't want to tell her because I was scared she'd send the police there, but this time I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. Like the first time ever I told her where I was, literally not even joking, like half an hour later there were like police vans like coming up to the house. They chained me and my friend to this like balcony that she had like on her staircase, you know, like the wooden things that come down. We were like fucking handcuffed to her stairs, and the police were like raiding the house. I'm not even joking, raiding the house, like stripping the whole house down, and me and her were just sat on the stairs like, what in the world? We were watching Mean Girls. And I remember like the look on her mum and dad's face as they came through the door, and there were like 3 armed fucking policemen there, and they like took me home in their police van. Yeah, but that was like a daily occurrence, like a literal daily occurrence. Like every time I wanted to like go out with a friend, and she used to like unplug the Wi-Fi in my house, because at that time like we had iPads. We didn't like, oh, I had an iPad. Like phones or like iPhones at that point were like new. I think there was like the iPhone 4, and most people still had pay as you go, and you'd like be counting every text. Maybe it was a bit after that, but either way. So I had my iPad, didn't really have a phone, she wouldn't let me have one. And every night at like 7 p.m, she'd unplug the Wi-Fi box in the house so I couldn't make plans for the next day to go and like meet a friend or something. So yeah, she'd like unplug the Wi-Fi every day at 7. Or like if I pissed her off, like if I was just in her space and I said something she didn't like, she'd be like, that's it, and I'm unplugging the Wi-Fi. So just because I don't have siblings, like it would just be me and her, and like Bean Man, the man that smells of beans, and like nothing I could do because I lived in like the middle of nowhere with no Wi-Fi. It was really bad. Like I used to like run away and leave the house and like go sit in random cafes. Like I didn't have money to pay for anything, I just sat there to use their Wi-Fi. And like, yeah, anyway, whatever. So yeah, one time I went out, I think like I was seeing my friend, and we went, don't know what we were doing. Like, we weren't, I'm not gonna lie, we weren't angels, but we weren't like as bad as like calling the police or anything. Like, we were just like normal 15-year-old girls. I came home, there was like 3 police officers in my lounge, and she told them to tell me that if I like kept this up, they'd be putting me in like a special prison camp for kids. I mean, looking back, like, it was a lie because I didn't do anything illegal, but these like men were all sitting there like, yeah, if you keep doing this, we're gonna have to lock you away and like take you somewhere without any like bars, like, you know, like bars on the window. Fucked up, mate. Anyway, so I think at that point my grandparents intervened, and they were like thankfully they were like very normal, and they were like did quite well in their life because of my grandparents, who like really successful, and you know, like had quite a lot of money, and then my mum, who like refused to get a job and then had no money, like was just sponging money off other people, like to the point where we just didn't have food, which I know is like normal for a lot of people, God forbid, but for her it was a choice. Like, other people like try their hardest to make ends meet, but this woman like physically chose to not get a job because she thought she could manifest money instead of having a job. So we just like go months without food, and my grandparents would have to come and like buy us food. It was very like, yeah, it was like, again, like a big contrast between my mum not having anything and then my grandparents, like, who lived quite a luxurious lifestyle. But anyway, they stepped in and they were like, we can't have this anymore, like, this is crazy. And they sent me to boarding school. So I remember like I was just going about my life, and then they were like, yeah, by the way, Amelia, in 2 weeks you're going to boarding school in the middle of nowhere. So I did. 2 weeks later I was in a boarding school in the middle of a field, because they thought, right, she can't run away there, like there's nowhere to go, you know. Anyway, like that's a whole other story, you know. Like, I could literally just go on because I was boarding school, and loads of stuff happened there. And then I moved, at this point, like, my mum had run out of money, and then like she's moved back in with my grandparents now. So when I finished school, yeah, like loads of stuff happened. Like, that'll be a whole other video. Had a really, really good summer, again, a whole other video. And then moved back home with like my mum and my grandparents all in this house. And then, yeah, I think I was like 17 at that point. And then yeah, and I'll do a whole other thing on like boarding school, and then like the summer I had and everything, like it was sick. And then, yeah, so I moved back home while my mum was living there, and it just got really bad. Like, the friction like really, really, really built up. And yeah, I just remember like her room was covered in these like manifestation boards, and like every single book in the world, like spiritually known to man, is like in that room. And she'd just have these long big diaries where she'd write down like everything she wanted, and she'd just sit in that room and like not leave. I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, I was in college, and I was working like 26 hours a week, 28 hours a week in McDonald's, like trying to like just like support myself. And I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I finished college at 4, start work at Mackey's at 5, finish work at Mackey's at like 2 in the morning or whatever, and then come home, like have to go to college the next day, and she's just been sat in that room all fucking day, like literally not doing anything. Tensions built, and yeah, we had a massive argument, to the point where like, yeah, loads of stuff happened, and then she just drove off, became homeless for a bit, like lived in a car, and then got back on her feet, and then now she's like, I think fine. But yeah, that was that. Went through college, like that will be another video. Got my A-levels, that was hard. COVID happened, and then yeah, I got a job in London. Moved to London at 19, started working for like quite a big company. Yeah, and then more to tell there. So all in all, loads to dive into. And yeah, like wanted to keep it brief, wanted to keep it light, don't want it to be like a really heavy, depressing video, because you know, you got to make fun of these things, got to have a laugh about them. So yeah, more to come. I hope this gets views. If it does, I'll do more of these and just vent about random stuff. thanks for watching. Sorry, like literal side note, because I don't know how to end a YouTube video, like so awkward. But I think if this video gets views, you know, hopefully I will do more. Like I've got so much to talk on because I've had such a crazy life, and there's just so much I could speak about. Finding stability within yourself, really, especially if you have like toxic family or you've had shit happen to you, like how to get over it and use it to become who you're meant to be, and like twist it for your own benefit. I just don't see that much online about this kind of thing. So yeah, I thought I'd post something candid, something raw, something a bit more, you know, like not so flattering. And if it goes well, if it gets views, I'll do more of it. And try and cover all bases, you know? But yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully see you next time.